The sound of stone biting into stone echoed through the humid canopy 4,000 years ago. Character. One wiped grit from his eyes, his grip tightening around the wedge. They had no iron. They had no beasts to pull the load. They had only the limestone and the sheer force of their own backs. They dragged a massive block through the thick, tangled vines of the jungle floor, the mud pulling at their feet with every step. The weight was relentless. When the block tilted, sliding toward the soft earth, the crew braced their shoulders against the jagged edges, muscles straining to hold the line. They pushed until the stone moved again, inch by agonizing inch, toward the clearing. They hauled the slab into position, stacking it onto the rising base of the structure. The first level of the pyramid held firm against the earth. They did not stop to rest. They turned back toward the quarry, ready for the next load, driven by a singular, crushing ambition to reach the sky. By the time the sun climbed to its zenith, the plaza was a roar of activity. Character, too, sat at the edge of the stone platform, his stylus moving in rapid, rhythmic strokes across the stele. He carved the names of kings and the movements of stars into the rock, preserving the history of a people who commanded the world. Around him, traders spread out treasures, the sharp edges of obsidian blades catching the harsh tropical light next to the deep, smooth green of jade masks. The air hummed with the exchange of goods and the weight of knowledge. As the sun dipped, the focus shifted upward. Character. 3 climbed the steep, narrow stairs of the highest temple, the jungle floor retreating into shadow below. He carried only a set of notched wooden rods. At the summit, he sat in the absolute stillness of the night. He watched the horizon for the first glimmer of Venus. When the planet appeared, he marked its position against the dark expanse, recording a cycle so precise it would survive for millennia. The city below was a sprawling web of causeways and intelligence, a testament to a society that had mastered both the earth and the heavens. The pulse of the empire faltered without warning. In the great city of Tikal, the rhythmic strike of hammer against stone simply stopped. A monument, meant to stretch toward the canopy, remained half-finished, its glyphs cut mid-sentence, the sharp edges of the limestone left exposed to the rain. The change was slow at first, then absolute. The wells that had sustained the population for generations dropped, then went hollow. Character. One walked the length of the maize fields, but the stalks were brittle, rattling like dry bone in the wind. Where once there was lush, green abundance, there was now only cracked, gray earth. The humidity of the jungle seemed to retreat, leaving the air thin and sour. The astronomers on the high temple searched the sky, but the silence from the plaza below grew heavier with each passing night. No traders arrived with jade. No scribes recorded the movements of the stars. The thriving hub of trade had turned into a tomb of unfinished ambition. Each family looked to their dry hearth, then to their neighbors, waiting for a sign that would never come. The certainty of their world had evaporated, leaving behind a cold, creeping dread that settled over the stone paths like a shroud. Scarcity turned neighbor against neighbor. The stone stelae that once celebrated trade now recorded the names of fallen generals. Tikal, Copán, and Palenque locked their borders. Traders stopped arriving at the gates, fearing the raiding parties that stalked the causeways. Inside the cities, the sound of chisels was replaced by the clatter of spears against shields. Walls were raised higher with raw, uncarved stone, blocking off the grand plazas. Water became more precious than gold. Skirmishes broke out at the edges of the fields as desperate groups fought over the last muddy pools. The violence was jagged and relentless. By the next moon, the decision was made. Families gathered what they could carry, wrapping ceramic bowls and tools in rough woven mats. They did not look back at the temples. One by one, they stepped off the paved paths and pushed into the green wall of the forest. They moved in silence, carving new trails through the thick undergrowth, leaving their homes to the encroaching shadows. The great plazas, once the center of the world, stood hollow. The empire did not vanish overnight. It dismantled itself, piece by piece, as the people chose the uncertainty of the wild over the collapse of their stone walls. The silence was the final inhabitant. Vines crept over the limestone steps, anchoring themselves into the cracks where feet once trod. Roots pushed through the mortar, slowly prying the blocks of the great temples apart. The forest canopy closed above the plazas, sealing the stone paths in a thick, emerald darkness. Seasons cycled, and the dust of the fields settled into the hollow rooms. What remained were the stone skeletons of an era that once touched the stars. Today, the ruins sit beneath the heavy shadow of the canopy. Character 4 walks these paths, brushing away layers of damp leaves to reveal a carved glyph or a fragment of a calendar. The stone walls stand as witnesses to a collapse that defied explanation. Was it the heat that scorched the earth? The relentless clash of armies? Or a shift in the land itself? The answers remain buried under centuries of growth. The city does not speak, and the stone holds its secrets. In the stillness of the afternoon, the mystery of their departure lingers, waiting for the next discovery to pull back the veil of the jungle, yet the void left by their absence remains profound, a testament to a world that simply walked away.